The Notes I Never Wrote. Part 1, the beginning. They say writing things down helps you understand yourself. But I think it just teaches you what you're capable of forgetting. It started with the notes. Little scraps of paper I'd find around my apartment. Short sentences written in handwriting that looked almost like mine, but not quite. Don't trust a mirror. Stay inside tonight. Stop talking when you hear the knock. At first, I thought I was sleepwalking. I mean, who hasn't written something down in the middle of the night just to remember it later? But the handwriting, it had this hesitation to it. Like whoever wrote, it was still learning how to hold a pen. I'd laugh about it in the morning. Then I'd find new ones. And the laughter stopped. One day, I decided to film myself sleeping. I watched the footage the next morning. Nothing. Just me, lying still, breathing softly. But right before the camera battery died, someone stepped into frame. Not from the door, not from the hallway. From the reflection in the window. And they were holding a note. They left it on my chest before disappearing back into the glass. When I woke up, the note was still there. It said, "You shouldn't have watched." Since then, I haven't slept much. Every time I close my eyes, I hear the scratching of a pen somewhere in the apartment. And when I open them, a new note waits on my nightstand. Tonight says, "Let me finish." But the page was blank. And for the first time, I think I understood what it wanted. It's not trying to tell me something. It's trying to continue the story. Part 2, the descent. If you're still listening, thank you. I've been recording these sessions to keep myself tethered to something real, to remember what my own voice sounds like. Because lately, it's been changing. The first thing I lost was time. I'd sit down for dinner, blink, and suddenly it was 3 a.m. Food cold, TV still murmuring, and a note waiting on the table. You missed it. I didn't know what I was supposed to have missed. But each time I found those words, the world around me felt slightly rearranged. A painting tilted. A chair moved. The smell of smoke, though nothing burned. I bought cameras, 6 of them, mounted them across the apartment. For 2 weeks, they caught nothing. Then one morning, I woke up to find every lens covered with paper. Each scrap had a single word written across it. Stop. When I peeled one off, the handwriting underneath wasn't mine anymore. It was sharper, angrier, almost carved into the page. That day, I unplugged the cameras. I started sleeping in short bursts. 15 minutes here, 10 there. I told myself it was to stay alert, but really, I was afraid of dreaming too long. Because when I did, I'd hear whispers. Not outside, inside. They sounded like me, just a little too far away to understand. Like echoes that didn't belong to the same room. One night, half awake, I whispered back, and the voice answered immediately. It said, "Finally, you're listening." I don't remember what happened after that, but I woke up with a pen in my hand and 3 words written across my arm. Let me speak. The ink had soaked through my skin like it wanted to stay. I scrubbed until it bled, but the faint outline remained. That was the night I started hearing footsteps behind me, soft, dragging, perfectly matched to mine. Every time I stopped, they stopped too. I don't know how to explain the next part. The apartment began to feel misaligned. The hallway seemed longer. The lights buzzed at a lower pitch. Sometimes the window showed dawn when the clock said midnight. I'd walk from room to room, trying to catch it, that shift, but it only happened when I wasn't looking. And always another note. Under my pillow, in the fridge, inside the bathroom cabinet. All of them saying things I didn't want to believe. You're almost ready. He's tired of pretending. Stay still tonight. I started keeping them all in a box. At first, it was just paper. Then it was proof. But one night, the box was empty. Every note gone. Instead, there was a small tape recorder. Old-fashioned, heavy. When I pressed play, my own voice filled the room. But it wasn't any of these recordings. It was older, slower, and it said, "Stop looking for me." That's when I realized. Maybe I'd done all of this before. Maybe this entire thing, the notes, the cameras, the recordings, wasn't discovery. It was repetition. Something trying to remind itself what it used to be. That night, I fell asleep sitting against the wall, light still on. When I woke up, there was a note taped to my forehead. It said, "Good morning." Just that, 2 words. But it felt sincere. And for a moment, I thought maybe the nightmare had broken. Maybe it was over. Until I saw my reflection in the dark TV screen. It was smiling again. And it mouthed the words, "Good morning," a second before I did. When the light hit the glass, I saw there was something behind me. A shape. A second silhouette. I turned. No one there. But the reflection didn't turn. It just watched me, and then blinked. Once, slowly, like it was learning how. That's when I stopped keeping mirrors in the house. I covered them with sheets, turned them to the wall. But reflections find their way back. In windows, in screens, in puddles. Sometimes late at night, I see movement in the black of my phone screen. Something waiting for the camera to turn on. Maybe it already has. Part 3, the split. There's a strange comfort in repetition. I think that's how people go mad. By mistaking it for routine. Every night, I tell myself I'll stay awake. And every morning, I find new writing on the walls. Part 3, the split. There's a strange comfort in repetition. I think that's how people go mad. By mistaking it for routine. Every night, I tell myself I'll stay awake. And every morning, I find new writing on the walls. Always the same handwriting. Always the same message. Almost there. I don't remember buying more paper. But the drawers are full of it, clean, white, untouched until morning. And the pens, they keep showing up too. I tried to throw them all away once. Walked 3 blocks to the dumpster, dropped them in. By the time I got back home, one was on my pillow. The same black pen, with the same faint crack in the cap. I've started checking my recordings again. At first, I thought they were blank. But when I turned the volume all the way up, I could hear faint breathing, not mine, slower. Measured. Then a voice said, "You're talking too much." It startled me so badly, I dropped the recorder. When I played it back again, the tape was silent. No breathing, no voice. Just static, like it never happened. There's something wrong with my voice lately. Not on the outside. Inside. When I speak, I can feel an echo, a vibration that doesn't fade when I stop talking. It lingers in my throat, like a second voice waiting for its turn. Sometimes, I hear it finish my sentences when I stop halfway through. Quietly, under its breath. As if it's disappointed I couldn't get the words out myself. The walls have started answering back. 2. Soft clicks. Settling sounds that match my breathing. Once, I tapped twice on the wall beside my bed. Just a nervous tick. 2 seconds later, 2 knocks came back. Perfect rhythm. I froze, tapped once more, and it answered. That's when I realized maybe I wasn't talking to the wall. Maybe it was talking through the wall. The box of notes is back. Full again. But these new ones aren't written in pen. They're printed, typed, and the words are cleaner, sharper. Like someone's been editing me. The newest one said, "You need to let go of your voice." Underneath it, smaller. It's not yours anymore. I've stopped going outside. Not because I'm afraid. I just can't tell when it's day anymore. The windows show what they want to. Sometimes a sunrise that never ends. Sometimes night that stretches too long. The clocks disagree with each other now. The kitchen clock says 3:14 a.m. The one in the living room says 8:47 p.m. But they both tick in sync. Together. Last night, I recorded myself while I slept. I thought maybe I'd catch something, proof of what's happening. When I played it back this morning, I heard the sound of footsteps again. Then breathing. Then my own voice whispering. He's watching you listen. There are moments now when I catch glimpses, not reflections. Exactly. More like overlaps. A shadow where there shouldn't be one. A shape half a second out of sync with the rest of the world. Once, I saw my own hand move before I told it to. Just a twitch. But I felt the decision happen after the motion, not before. Like something else was learning to drive. The phone rings sometimes. No number. No caller ID. When I answer, I hear silence. Then a faint crackle, like someone adjusting a microphone. Once, a voice said, "Are you ready?" And I said, "For what?" The voice laughed, softly, like it was coming from my own mouth, and said, "You already said yes." I've started seeing writing in other places now. On the condensation of the bathroom mirror. In the dust on the windowsill. Once, even on the inside of my eyelids when I blinked too long. They all say the same thing. He's almost here. I tried sleeping somewhere else, a motel across town. One of those cheap ones with buzzing lights and cigarette burns on the curtains. I left my phone, my recorder, everything at home. But when I turned on the TV in that room, the static formed words on the screen. You can't leave halfway. Then, just before it shut off, I saw my own reflection in the glass. But this time, it wasn't smiling. It looked tired, afraid. And it whispered, "Please stop writing." That's when I understood it wasn't trying to hurt me. It was trying to stop me. Because every time I wrote about it, I gave it shape. Every sentence made it more real. Maybe these words aren't just notes. Maybe they're doors. And maybe I've already opened too many. If you're still listening, don't repeat any of this out loud. Because that's how it gets through. Through voice. Through memory. Through repetition. Maybe that's why it sounds like me now. Because I gave it a language. I taught it how to sound human. Part for the quiet end. I've been speaking less lately. The apartment is quieter that way. Every word I say feels like I'm feeding something. Sometimes I can almost feel it waiting in the silence, like a breath that never exhales. Last night, I burned one of the notes. Just one. Folded it into a neat square, lit it over the sink. The paper turned black, but the words stayed legible until the very end. Even as ash, they still said, "You'll just write it again." And they were right. This morning, there was a new note on the counter, same sentence, same smudge of ash at the corner. I stopped pretending I understood what was happening. I found a mirror I'd forgotten to cover. The bathroom one. There was condensation on it, faint letters drawn from the inside of the glass. It said, "Turn around." I didn't. I couldn't. But in the reflection, I watched my shoulders move anyway. My reflection turned. And there was something behind him, behind me. A darker outline, close enough to whisper. When I blinked, it was gone. But the reflection didn't blink with me. I've started keeping the lights off now. Darkness feels safer somehow, like it hides us both. The hum from the refrigerator has begun syncing with my pulse. Every vibration feels timed, deliberate, like it's counting something down. I asked the air once, "When will it stop?" And the answer came from everywhere at once. "When you stop looking." I've been dreaming again. Not of places, of instructions. Voices telling me what to write, what to erase, which words belong to me and which don't. When I wake up, the paper is full. Sometimes, entire paragraphs appear that I don't remember typing. They sound like me, but cleaner, emptier. Like someone edited out the emotion and left only rhythm. Tonight, I try to listen instead of speak. To let the room breathe on its own. At first, nothing. Then, faint scratching like pencil on paper. I followed the sound to the kitchen table. There was a note already waiting for me, still damp with ink. Stop recording. I reached my phone to turn off the mic, but another note slid from under the first one. Too late. The air feels heavy tonight, like it's pressing against my skin, reminding me I still have one. I keep thinking about that first note, the one that said, "I can hear you writing." What if it wasn't a warning? What if it was an introduction? Maybe there was never anyone else here. Maybe I've just been answering myself from a side of time that loops too tightly to escape. I played back one of the oldest tapes tonight, the very first one I ever made, before any of this started. My voice sounded younger, calmer. Then halfway through, there was a sound I'd never noticed before. A whisper beneath the static. Keep going. I don't know if that was me, or if that's where it started to become me. I think that's why I can't stop talking now. Because maybe that's what it wants, not fear, not obedience, just continuity. For the voice to keep existing. And if I stop, maybe it stops too. Maybe that's mercy. The clock in the kitchen stopped 5 minutes ago, but I can still hear it ticking. Not from the clock, from somewhere behind the wall. It's slower now, measured, almost like breathing. I tore the latest note in half. Both pieces said the same thing. Almost there. I don't think it's about a place anymore. I think it's about a moment, the one that happens right before you realize you've been talking to no one. The lights flicker sometimes when I start recording. Like something doesn't want me to finish the thought. But I'm almost done now. If I stop, maybe this stays here, frozen, harmless, contained in its own silence. If I finish, maybe it finds a way out. If you're still listening, turn the volume down. Not for me, for yourself. Because silence isn't empty. It's just waiting for its turn to speak.